Salutations, my Legion of Doom. I'm your Time Lord wannabe, the Brainstormer of pop culture. So, as you can obviously see, I'm pitching my idea for a Justice League movie. However, this isn't in the vein of the Snyder Cut, as more an homage to George Miller's Justice League Mortal. Namely, this is the introduction of the prime heroes we would see in this hypothetical DC Comics cinematic universe, or whatever it be called. Then probably after we get their individual stories and origins in movie form. I'm not implying anything about all involved in the 2017 movie of Justice League, for I know that everyone involved at least tried their best. This, like everything I do on this channel, is just for a fun writing exercise for me and entertainment for you. Okay, so first I'll give a brief overview of the plot, mention the themes, and then dive into the characters, which are my favorite part of any story in case you didn't know. Plot-wise, it does combine elements from a few notable runs, namely Kingdom Come, JLA, Tower of Babel, What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way, which inspired the movie Superman vs. the Elite, as well as The Brave and the Bold, number 28. Granted, it's still technically an original story. So, the newly minted Green Lantern, John Stewart, is given the mission of stopping the alien entity known as Starro the Conqueror that's heading for Earth. When arriving to Earth, he must rally a group of other heroes on the planet, even though he faces a lot of problems and pushback. Unbeknownst to all, a plot has been set in motion by mysterious forces. The main themes of this version of Justice League are trust, belief in the human spirit, unyielding in the face of danger, and overcoming fear. I'll touch upon all these themes later. Now we move on to the cast of All-Star Justice League, mainly the protagonist and the antagonist, but I will briefly touch upon some important side characters as well. The Justice League. John Stewart / Green Lantern was a former U.S. Marine, then became an architect after his service. When he was chosen by the Ring, at first hesitant, he accepted. He found the new life thrilling and reminded him of his life as a soldier, although he butted heads with one of the legendary Lanterns in his first days, that being Sinestro, not getting a good sense off of him. So he began doing digging on the man, but his private investigation is put on hold when he's ordered to prevent Starro from conquering Earth. Now he has to bring together a team of superheroes. Clark Kent, aka Superman, is known as the first superhero of the modern age. He first appeared in 1961 and is credited to being the modern definition of superhero. He's helped found many non-for-profit or global organizations to help people. Due to his down-to-earth nature and noble characteristics, he is often referred to as the Big Blue Boy Scout, but he doesn't mind. He usually doesn't care for the big picture talk, believing the common good rather than the greater good. However, he's never faced a world-ending threat before, so this Starro the Conqueror has him a little rattled, but he isn't going to back down either, because he needs to protect his home. More often than not, he's the butt of the joke, but he just laughs with them. While the real man, Clark Kent, is a retired journalist for the Daily Planet, just working the land of his old family farm. He's a loving husband and proud father / grandfather, so he spends whatever time he has farming and supermanning. Diana Prince, aka Wonder Woman, made her big debut in 1975. She's been fighting the good fight for the last 38 years, even teamed up with Superman once or twice. Along with Superman, she's been aided by the UN Peace Corps in humanitarian missions for the last 20 years, and she's been helping the world in her own ways. She's stayed busy and learned a lot about the ways of man, and like Superman, she's unyielding in the belief that mankind is ultimately good, and she still holds a wide-eyed wonder for the modern world. As the threat of the world nears, Diana becomes the voice to help rally some of the others to the League. Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, has been operating since 1992. He's been mostly an urban myth at this point, and when he's called to help Superman, Wonder Woman, and the other metahumans, he's a bit hesitant at first, not really trusting them. Compared to most, he's a cynic, not really that believing in mankind, even though he would wish to. He just sees too much bad in the world. So he is usually the guy in the shadows, not as sociable as the others, but he does interact with the Flash more than the others, maybe because he finds a kinship in intelligence and detective work. Also the most sarcastic of the heroes. Arthur Curry, aka Aquaman, the king of Atlantis and half-blood of Atlantean and human. For the last 10 years, he's really only cared about Atlantis and keeping it safe, completely shutting out his humanity. So he's very apprehensive in helping the surface world. It's only when prodded by Mira, his queen, does he reluctantly join the group. Mostly he butts heads with one woman due to both being leaders in their own right, and he finds himself the outcast by some because of his aggressive nature. Barry Allen, aka The Flash, the youngest of the heroes and still during the learning curve in heroics, however, unlike other millennial heroes, believes in the good and more upbeat than others. Mostly a klutz and sometimes too fast for his own good, so he often finds himself in more trouble than he planned. And he's also a big fanboy when it comes to heroes like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, etc. Plus, he does have something to really drive him to be one of the first heroes to join, being that his recently married wife, Iris West Allen, is someone who lives on Earth and he really wants to enjoy his honeymoon. John Jones, aka Martian Manhunter. Formerly one of the best manhunters, police officers, of the Martian civilization, John had a happy life with his family for a time that seems so long ago. That peaceful time was short-lived when the White Martians staged war, resulting in the mostly total extinction of the entire Martian race, except Jean. For centuries, he was alone on the Red Planet. He only found himself being comforted by old broadcasts of old 1940s cartoons for a time due to fixing an old Martian transponder. When Jon Stewart arrives after being attacked and is told about the coming doom, the lawman that is John Jones cannot stand by when innocent people are in danger, so he joins without a second thought. Starro the Conqueror, a giant alien creature shaped like a starfish with a big eye in the middle. Its primary goal is to use as much of sentient life as breeding stock for new generation of its species. Now moving on to the central antagonists, the High Society, as I've deemed them. So you have Vandal Savage, the initiator of the High Society, which the goal is to eliminate the highest value targets of supers, which becomes eventful when he makes a deal with Sinestro to send Starro here, in order to evaluate and deduce the weaknesses of those heroes. He's an immortal from the time of the Neanderthals, wishing to revert humanity to a simpler time, and sees the metahumans and heroes as threats to his plans of reversion. So gathered a like-minded immortal known as Ra's al Ghul and convinced him to help in his endeavors. Now we have Ra's al Ghul, an immortal leader of the League of Assassins, with the belief that there comes a time in every generation that it needs a clean slate. So he's teamed up with Vandal Savage in order to make a wider and more impactful change, also wanting another shot to face his former pupil, Batman. Now, finally, Sinestro. Regarded as one of the greatest Green Lanterns of the last few centuries, he has been ever vigilant in protecting this sector. However, he's more of a tyrant in his sector, being brutal and dangerous, often killing the criminals he faces. Although he keeps the facade of a noble and good Green Lantern, he's secretly a violent murderer. Even though Sinestro believes what he's doing is right, he comes to blows with Jon Stewart, who suspects him of crimes and tries to bring to light to the Guardians. In order to stop this, he must ally himself with Vandal Savage and Ra's al Ghul of Earth in order to rid himself of this problem. Now for the secondary antagonists, the Elite. A group of young, inexperienced, and very, very cynical superheroes, with air quotes, comprised of Manchester Black, Coldcast, Menagerie, and the Hat. Basically, they are the millennial group that lives in the postmodernist mindset, seeing Superman and Wonder Woman as outdated ways of heroism. They find themselves manipulated by the High Society in order to deal with the Justice League. Now moving on to the important sidecast characters. So first we have Lois Lane Kent, editor-in-chief for the Daily Planet, about to retire to move in with her husband, Clark Kent. She's very no-nonsense and witty, often playing off her farm boy husband. She's very much his rock and has been for the last 45 years of their marriage. Now, Jimmy Olsen, hard-working journalist and winner of several Peabody Awards for the Daily Planet. He's been leading the charge in journalism since the late 70s as a rookie photographer, eventually becoming one of the most renowned journalists. Now that his boss and old friend / mentor, Lois Lane, is retiring soon, he's looked at to be the next editor. He's known about Clark Kent being Superman since the mid-80s and has been keeping it secret this whole time, being a dear friend to the family. As always, James will be that lovable dork to the Kents. Iris West Allen is a rookie reporter for the Central City Citizen. She's the high school sweetheart and wedded bride of Barry Allen. She's very pushy and jokey with people, just like her husband. Daring and passionate with her life, she finds excitement in the chance for Barry to do this hero stuff, also wanting some autographs because she's also maybe kind of a fan like her husband. And she makes sure that she keeps her running man grounded when it comes to his life as the Flash. Now we have Mira, the Queen of Atlantis and moral voice to Aquaman. She's just as stubborn like her husband, but is capable of playing Arthur to do the thing he didn't want to do before. However, unlike her husband, she's very easygoing and upbeat, but understands she has responsibilities and wants to properly do those, but only with allying Atlantis with the surface world. Now we have Alfred Pennyworth, faithful butler of the Wayne family and father figure / pragmatic voice of reason for Bruce Wayne. He's been there since Bruce was a boy and has taken care of and raised him as his own. While at times dry and sarcastic, he is the vocal conscience and pushing force for Bruce to team up with the heroes. So we've got everyone out of the way, let me dive into the themes of my movie. So the first one is trust. Obviously the main theme is for the Justice League themselves, but primarily Batman and Aquaman. Also the erosion of trust with the high society, as they are greedy and selfish, ultimately turning on one another. Then there's the belief in the human spirit. This is mainly a battle between Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, and Martian Manhunter as the League faces the Elite. Moving on to unyielding in the face of danger, and this is for the whole League as they face Starro, because most of them haven't faced a threat like this before. And overcoming fear is the last theme, and this is mostly for Jon Stewart, as he must face a lantern out of his league in Sinestro. So that was my idea for a Justice League movie. Hope you liked it, and in brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Till next time, my legion.